What is up, YouTubes? I just wanted to make a video and share with y'all my most recent commander deck and one that I find pretty fun to play, Toxrill. I know, super original. No one else has made videos on Toxrill as a commander, but believe it or not, I think it can be done. It dawned on me when I just so happened to open one up and play it in a sealed event right when the set first was released, and I thought, yes, this will indeed make a good commander. So fast forward from the set being released like 2 months ago, and I finally made the deck. Here's the breakdown of how I'll go through my approach of Toxrill, first with my game plan overview for the power level that I built it at, then I'll share my favorite protection spells that I have for Toxrill, other ways to protect the Slug Lord, and then how to approach that mid and late game, and the rest of the cards in the deck. Then I'll end with cards I wish I had for the deck, or upgrades I'm looking to procure from, let's say, Card Kingdom, who sponsors the channel and is where you should go to buy cards too, if you want, because they're great and just good people. Plug, done, we did it. Okay, onto the game plan, which in the early game is to try and lay low. Ramp a bit if you can play a mana rock or two, and of course, do all the annoying things blue and black do, which is ruin everyone's plans. Then we must find some protection for Toxrill, or get some equipment down because our Slug leader is the win condition. Toxrill is board control, it's card advantage, it's token generation, all in one. That means other players, or every other player, will want to kill it with fire immediately. With that said, let's get into the cards. My 3 favorite protection options for our Salty Slug Slime Meister are Kaya's Ghost Form, Diplomatic Immunity, and Malakir Rebirth. All of them bring about a certain amount of frustration. Kaya's Ghost Form protects against Toxrill dying or being exiled, which is not a common protection to find. Diplomatic Immunity means essentially an opponent has to board wipe, which may really limit their ability to deal with the slug in a timely manner, or could result in a wiped board at first, but then if you have any slime counters on stuff, you're left with an army of slugs for you to do whatever you want with when the dust clears. And then Malakir Rebirth is just an awesome 1 black mana spell that your opponents think they finally have a way to deal with it, and boom, Toxrill is still here. Now, as we move from the protection spells into other stuff that just synergizes really well with Toxrill, we got Lightning Greaves, Whisper Silk Cloak, some Umbras, Starlit Mantle, Dive Down, or, of course, counterspells like Counterspell and Spelljack. I like Spelljack because, especially if it's targeted removal, you get to then cast it on something else. No, it's not the most efficient option, but it sure is a salt-inducing one. And these are the cards we want at the ready when we finally do cast Toxrill, and this is probably the most important tip for piloting the deck, okay? We should keep some mana up or have treasures available that ensure we can protect our commander once we cast it, if not twice, before it's our turn again. Having Toxrill be immediately countered or killed is a quick way to fall behind and potentially be too far behind or slowed to then recover and have any chance at winning the game. Point is, it's okay to take an extra turn if you really have to so that you can play Toxrill and have some protection at the ready for him. Rushing Toxrill out into play is often inviting yourself to, just not have a good time. Then once Toxrill is on the board, the game will quickly shift towards archenemy, with you as the target. What I mean by that is no one is going to like you. You only play this deck if you know the people at the table will forgive you afterwards, because if it works well, no one else is having fun. But I guess it's kind of like you're a slug, so salt is going to show up at one point or another. Again, do not play this deck if you are in a new group. Let's just jump in to reviewing the other cards in the deck so you can kind of get a visual of how our build looks. And I do just always like to look at my decks in this visual because it helps you just better think. Do I need more creatures? Do I need more spells? What am I going on with this deck? Again, Toxrill is the win con. It's the board control. It's everything all in one. I don't actually know if I like the fancier version of it. I just rock the original standard art. But I want to show you some of my more favorite, just kind of newer but jankier cards. I mean, Geese is always good. Sakashima, who doesn't want a second Toxrill, right? But cards that are slept on. Clackbridge Troll is a good card in Commander, especially with Toxrill as your commander, because it's going to take out those goats, and an 8/8 Trample Haste, it's just something your opponent's got to deal with. So now they have another threat they have to deal with. It only costs 5 mana. It's just a solid card all around. Krav the Unredeemed, one of the most slept-on mono-black cards in all of Commander. I think this card is nuts, and when you're creating a lot of tokens, you can use it to draw cards, pump them up. It's just super high synergy play. Massacre Girl, one of those awesome board wipes. If you need it, hopefully you don't, because you're just so far ahead your opponent can't stop you. Dreadhound, awesome card just printed. Fantastic in Toxrill. Helps every time a creature dies or a creature card's put into a graveyard from a library. Each opponent loses 1 life. This card also synergizes really well with what your opponents may potentially be doing. If they're trying to mill themselves or mill others, Dreadhound's there to keep pinging them. Massacre Worm, another card that's kind of fallen off, at least in my play group, what people are playing, but it's another card that can just get you a ton of board presence advantage, take your opponents out. And then more protection spells. Dive Down, Peek. This is just a dumb card that I found looking through my older stuff, and I was like, you know what, I'm just going to play this. Could it be replaced for something better? Yes. But it's also kind of fun to know, all right, you're the opponent that has the most land up, that probably is going to have the most answers. I want to see if you actually have any in your hand before I play Toxrill on the next turn or something like that. It's actually surprising how nice it is to be able to see your opponent's stuff, and you always play it, you know, oh, right before my turn on your end step, I'm going to look at your hand. Okay, I don't actually have to play around anything from you. That makes life a little easier with what I'm going to do next turn. Altar's Reap, just good card advantage kind of stuff. And then I don't play a ton of counter magic because it's just not my go-to way to play the game. I really just want to try and get that set up, get Toxrill on the board, and then hopefully be able to protect him with my artifacts and my enchantments more so than counter magic. Sudden Spoiling, another card that's just super good, and I feel like people forget about it because in a way it can prevent your commander from getting countered. You can just play your commander and then in response play Sudden Spoiling. If you need, that makes sure that he resolves because you can hold priority and then cast it, and then as soon as a split second thing is on the stack has to clear. So there you go. Next is a Fate. That's another salty card. I'll be honest, that's just another salt machine. Lightning Reaves, Moonsilver Key, another new card. I mean, a lot of this is not all that exciting. Here's probably the least efficient card I play in the deck is Drake Skull Cameo. But again, went through the older collection, and I was like, I'm never going to play this card in my life, except in this deck, because then no one can get mad at me for saying I'm min-maxing this stuff, because I'm obviously not. And then Cormus Bell, it does the thing. But you'll also notice my lands are super simple in this deck. I'm not trying to abuse the salt-inducing, but I'll talk about that in the upgrades, which I'll get into right after this. But this is just giving you an idea of, you can see there's a handful of good enchantments that protect it, handful of artifacts. That's the gist. Play creatures that synergize well with either having tokens, stuff dying, or giving you the ability to proliferate your counters onto stuff. Lux Cannon's another one of those just kind of janky, fun to do, but if you can proliferate and use it to remove stuff, or destroy target permanent, you know, I'm just saying, you can target lands if you really want to. Always a salty thing to do. But that's it. You get the gist. Check out the deck list in the description, and let me know in the comments if you have any upgrades or spicy, janky cards you throw in with your Toxrill brews. Love to hear what you guys are playing with. Now, let me jump into the upgrades, because there are a few in mind that would certainly help up the power level if that's something you're interested in. First one, Meathook Massacre. This card is so obnoxious. I wish I had a copy of it, but it's expensive. Rhystic Study, card draw is always good, and if we're going to be inducing salt, why not just commit, you know? And then in that case, sure, I wish I had a copy of Urborg, Tomb of Yawgmoth to play. I do not. I just play the Bell to punish my opponents for being greedy. But this is a game-winning combo right here. Land Destruction is maximum salt. If you can play the Bell, play Urborg, have your commander on the battlefield, say go, your opponent's scoop right there. That's the game. And that's really it for this video. Short and sweet, deck list in the description if you want a starter list for how to build Toxrill. I think this deck is also one that can certainly vary in power levels. It's also one that's really easy to jump into. You can play with cards from just the last few sets and have a pretty decent build. Or if you just like piloting yourself through that challenging 3v1 situation, Toxrill will definitely put you in that position almost every time. So, thanks for watching, and thank you to Card Kingdom for sponsoring the channel again. If you need any cards, check out my affiliate link in the description. Thank you to my patrons. I couldn't do this without y'all. I can't say it enough for how much I appreciate y'all's support. Thank you. I really appreciate you being here. I thank you for watching the video. Please hit that like button, and we will see you in the next one. And let me know in the comments if you have any cards you like to play with Toxrill, or cards that I don't have in my deck list that you think I should consider. Let me hear about it in the comments. Again, appreciate you watching. Take it easy, my friends. Peace.